Microphones are out. Let's rock and roll.
So yesterday, James goes to Santa Cruz, gets in a little workout. Are we in any position to know sort of what the plan will be moving forward on him?
Actually, Santa Cruz came here, so that we brought the team here and had a scrimmage, and went really well. James looked good, felt good today, so went through full practice today, and he continues to improve, and no timetable for anything, just day to day.
For Clay, it was like about a 7-week run up from the time he was cleared for full practice and actually played in the game. Will it be similar, you think, or shorter maybe?
No idea. It's a totally different case. And it'll be up to Rick and the training staff how we proceed from here. And as I said, we're literally proceeding day to day. And so we're not mapping out anything over the next few weeks. We're just going from one day to the next, and he continues to improve.
How did Draymond look? Is this your first time seeing him?
Draymond's first practice. We didn't have anything live, but some shooting, some 5-on-0, a lot of drill work, and it's great just to have his energy, back in the gym. His voice. He looked great physically. He's excited to be back. So that's a very positive step for him. And, we'll go from here.
What do you think it means to Looney, Otto Porter, all these guys are having to play center when they can see the reinforcements maybe coming, even though you don't know when, know they're coming?
I think it gives the whole team a lift to see these guys on the mend and hopefully returning at some point soon. We'll see how it all goes, but just gives everyone a little juice, and it's exciting to think about the possibilities. But we're also trying to just keep everything calm and see where it all takes us.
Is there anything update on Andre?
I don't know. Did the training staff release anything? Yeah. So we're just going to be very cautious with him. He went through a lot of practice today, and the main focus with Andre is getting him in the best possible position to be able to be healthy in the playoffs and be able to sustain an extended run of games over the stretch run and the playoffs. So he's not going to play tomorrow. He's, we're still taking it really slowly.
Have you allowed yourself, or is it too frightening to think about what your ceiling sort of is without Draymond or Andre?
Well, I'm watching it every night, so I'm getting a chance to see what we think works best with those guys out. I think we've found a pretty good lineup combination the last couple of games. I've liked what I've seen both in the Denver game and the Portland game in terms of how we're rotating guys in and combinations that we're seeing. So we're getting a really good look at it in case that is what comes to pass.
That being said, do you plan on having Gary stay in that starting spot for at least the foreseeable future until?
Yeah, just based on the way the last couple of games have gone, I would continue to lean in that direction with the caveat that matchups might dictate something different.
With Gary, I mean, he was signed to the 15th roster spot at the start of the season. Now he's filling in as a starter. You've said you're committed to getting him more minutes, playoff rotation. Just what have you seen from him and how he's grown into this kind of dependable player now on both sides of the ball? He was blocking Nikola Jokic the other night and just things like that.
Yeah, he's embraced the opportunity. He's a guy who has had to fight for everything, and he's been released so many times. He's struggled to, find fixed roles on teams. He's always been on the fringe. So you better believe he's going to make the most of this opportunity. It's the kind of person he is, the kind of competitor he is. And he's just had an exceptional year. He's earned everything he's gotten.
With Draymond and Andre, their future being sort of tenuous right now, what are the things that you need to see to believe you can make a deep playoff run if they don't come back for the playoffs?
We just have to continue to do what we do best right now, which is space the floor, take care of the ball, really push the pace like we did, the last couple of nights. All of our offensive concepts that we drill home, we've got to be really good with. And then defensively, we've got to continue to get better. The other night was a good effort, but we're fully aware that, with Nurkic out, Portland was, already shorthanded with Dame out, but really shorthanded the other night. But, no matter who's out there, we have to bring the energy and the focus defensively like we did in Portland. And if we do those two things, we feel like we can compete with anybody.
I know you said Wiseman is a day-to-day process, but do you know if there's any plans to have him play in a game with Santa Cruz?
Yeah, not yet. We're just continuing to take it day by day, and he will continue to be involved in scrimmages with our team. I don't know yet what the plan is for our road trip next week. I'm going to talk to our training staff, and we'll figure out, whether he's going to go with us or possibly practice. Here, work out here. I gotta talk to Rick and find out, but we're literally just taking it a day at a time.
You've talked about this a little bit in the past couple of weeks, but Jonathan's growth, not just on the court, but just in general.
Yeah.
What do you think? I mean, first of all, what's it been like, and what do you think has been behind his development, both in I guess in some ways signs of maturity?
Well, he's always had an unfailing confidence and belief in himself. And I think what needed to happen was his knowledge of the NBA and his awareness of what was happening needed to match his level of confidence. So early in the season, he naturally felt like he belonged out there. And athletically, there's no doubt he did. But he didn't understand everything that goes into winning yet. I think his growth can be summarized, really easily. In the last month, I would say a month ago, Clay had a game. He was 7 for 7 in the first quarter. I don't remember who we were playing. Maybe somebody remembers. Raymond, do you remember? Might have been Sacramento. Yeah. Clay's 7 for 7. JK gets the ball in the wing. Clay is running off a pin on the baseline. The whole team's yelling at him to pass it to Clay. JK shoots it. That was a month ago. The other night, he has a really good game. He talks to the media and he says, we got 7 guys who can shoot threes, including the 2 best shooters on earth. I don't need to be out there shooting threes. I can attack and get to the foul line. Like, that's a giant light bulb that went off at some point in the last month. But that's how it's supposed to happen. You can't just say, all right, here's the NBA. Now, by tomorrow, I want you to know. You just have to go through it and feel it. And I think what's happened is he's earned minutes. And over time, as he's earned minutes, he's used those minutes to improve and to recognize patterns defensively, to recognize what our plan is offensively, to figure out what his role is, to figure out where he can kind of fit in with the rest of the guys and still make really dominant plays and take over a game physically. He's figuring it all out right before our eyes. It's really, really exciting to see.
Is it fair to say that he had to discover how hard it is to be good in this league the hard way?
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. It's also a very creative way of saying it. You should write that. I like that. But he, I just, I know I've said this several times. To me, this is how it's supposed to happen. In the old days, that's what you learned going to college. And for several years, you had a coach yelling about transition defense every day. By the time you got to the NBA, there's no way you'd let anybody get behind you. Today in the modern NBA, you turn on League Pass, there's, home run passes every game, guys get behind because they don't have Dean Smith telling them for 3 years. They have to get back or they don't play. So the league is different now. So our development plan here, because of our personnel and because of the vets we have and the mentoring and the accountability that they can demand and that we can demand from our young guys, much more organic process where we can actually say, if you don't do this, you're not playing. And that's what we did early in the season. And I think as a result, JK has, to his credit, he's just seized everything. He's got a really good natural feel as a passer. He's now got a feel for cutting, for angles and finding the right gap to run into on offense, and defensively he gets better and better. I thought he was fantastic against Simons the other day in Portland. So the improvement is really coming rapidly.
Each player is different. Each of him has his own experience, but is seeing Jonathan's path and journey, whatever it is, good for a guy like James to see too, and see, it can happen, it's going to come, but with all of these things that you're kind of just laying out. Yeah,
and I think James was making strides himself a year ago, to the point where we could see that growth happening, and then his season was cut short by the injury. The difference for JK is that he had summer league, he had training camp. It's been a much more normal setting and environment. We tell James everybody has their own race to run. Everyone's journey is different. He suffered 2 really tough blows, one being COVID and one being the injury. And so he's getting off to a late start, but he's 20, 21. He's got a long, long career ahead of him. And so the growth is going to come, but it's going to take time. But there's no doubt that watching JK, watching Jordan Poole, all the stuff he's absorbing from the sidelines while being injured, he's a smart young guy. Like he's recognizing their growth, and he knows that's going to come for him too, as long as he keeps working.
All right, let's do one on Zoom real quick. Maria, go ahead.
Hi, Steve. Hope you're well. You were mentioning something regarding the young guys that you have in this team. So what would you like to continue seeing from them?
I think you're looking for constant growth and a continuation of getting better. It's not enough to get better and to stop. Steph Curry still gets better. He's one of the all-time great players in the NBA. And so what you want from your young players is this idea that you never reach a ceiling. You just keep striving to raise that ceiling. And, Jordan's a great example. You think how far he's come from 2.5 years ago. Such a dramatic rise. And yet there's stuff every game that we point out to him that we say, you can do this better. You can do that better. And that's good. That's a great sign. And he really accepts coaching and wants to be coached and wants to learn. And as long as you realize that learning is a career-long process, a lifelong process, then it becomes part of your daily ritual, and you keep striving to get better. Thank you.